Ready to roll, ready to roll, ready to roll. To quote the great Stu Feiner, a Barstool legend that I crack up every time I watch him go. Ready to roll. Jack in the back is here. This is the Colin Thompson Show. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody who listened to the Brandon Zylstra episode last week. Z has become a friend, a great teammate, a fan of the show. He rocks the Not For Long media hat all the time. He's a great guy, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Brandon Zylstra episode. If you haven't, Zylstra has an amazing story. CFL, NFL, getting declined NFL workouts because he signed a CFL contract he didn't know too many details about. All those things. Zylstra's got an amazing, amazing story. This week, the great Pat Elflein will be joining us. Draft pick, Remington Award winner, which is the top center in college football, got that award. He played at Ohio State under Urban Meyer and I believe Ryan Day, or just maybe Urban, but has some great stories about Christian McCaffrey, some great stories about Ohio State, great stories about all the quarterbacks he's played with. He played in Minnesota. He played for the Jets. He's with us here in Carolina. So Pat has become a good friend as well and is just an awesome storyteller, a chop it up kind of guy, and just loves to have a great time. I'm wearing my Tottenham Hotspur shirt today. Shout out to the Spurs again. Just taking care of business, just moving through the Premier League methodically. A draw with Man City a few weeks back. And here we are. You know, they beat Nottingham Forest today 2-0. So I'm excited what's going on with the Spurs. Jack, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. I've been playing some Madden 23 that just came out this week in my very minimal free time that I have. But I wanted to share something with you if you direct your attention to your cell phone. I have just sent you a photo of Madden's face scan of you this season. I want your reaction, and I'll tell you what JA and I thought it was when I sent it to JA earlier this week.
Wow. Now that, listen, first off, my first reaction, I look like Matt Ioannidis.
I see that. JA and I thought that you looked like that face scan looked like a fat Josh Allen was the comparison, or a bulkier Josh Allen.
I look, first off, I look absolutely yoked. For those watching us, Jack's pulling up, I'm pulling up. I look absolutely like a unit. My thighs are huge. They're bigger. They're like 4 times the size of my arms. My arms are massive. I'm lean. I don't think this is a good depiction of how I really look, but I am very appreciative of those in Madden. My score's not great, but I look lean. So I'm okay with that. First off, my hair's longer than that. This hair is black.
Yeah, as you said, it's not even your hair color.
Brown. The beard is strong, but kind of weak. I do wear eye black on game days. So that's a good workout of Madden. Horrible rating for me, which is, you know, I know where I stand in this league. I'm not saying I should be a 99 overall guy by any means, but a brutal rating. I literally can't walk and chew gum at the same time based off that rating.
It's been interesting. The more interesting, I want your reaction. The most interesting Madden rating I saw, Madden Ultimate Team, I'm pretty sure it's real. I saw a screenshot of it. JJ Jansen, the great JJ Jansen, is a 77 overall rated tight end. Not long snapper, tight end. I believe he has the highest rating of all the tight ends in Madden Ultimate Team on the Carolina Panthers.
What? Over Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble?
Yeah, I think Tommy's like a 75 or something like that along those lines. But it's like he's a 77 overall tight, like he's a gold tight end in Ultimate Team. Just JJ is a phenomenal long snapper. I'm not sure about his tight end abilities. Can he catch? Does he run a good route?
JJ is a really good long snapper and a sneaky, solid athlete. Played in the NFL for a really long time, and a brilliant financial mind. I pick his mind all the time, just like I pick the minds of our friends over at Wealth Advisory Services, wealthadvisoryservices.com. If you don't know them, you should. Doylestown, Bucks County, really convenient. Cayman, New Jersey, really convenient. If you're in the tri-state area, Paul, Dave, and their team of 100+ years of service dealing with people that have a bunch of money or a little bit of money, new investor, old investor, retirement, 401k. That is what they do best. They take care of your best interests. They are awesome communicators. They're great people, and I'm lucky I get to work with them and call them friends. So check out our friends at wealthadvisoryservices.com. If you don't know them, you should. wealthadvisoryservices.com. So amazing segue by me there. Good thing I went to Temple Communication School. On a side note, Jack, there's lots to discuss today. Lots to discuss. But let's discuss the Brandon Zylstra interview, because that was something you got to do in person. We talked about this before, but how cool is it for you to be a part of like a couple interviews with a couple NFL guys? Like, it was really cool for me. And now these, videos are taking off, and Zylstra has been probably the most text about interview I've had. That was our interview last week. I think Pat is going to give it a run for its money, but talk about getting to know Zill and the guys when you're down at training camp.
It was awesome. I mean, every player, they're all class acts, great people. Brandon's an awesome dude. Just being able to chop it up. He fit the vibe perfectly. The first second we walked in, the first thing he said to me is, "You remind me of Farver from Super Troopers." That was one of the clips we posted about. We talked about on the show. All around great dude, really funny, great, just quote, great, easy. He could make a great career in broadcasting if he decided to do it. Matt, another way down the lines, another great guy. I mean, all of the players we talked to. Johnny Hecker was a great one. Miles was a great dude. Every player we interacted with was awesome. Sam Baker. I can't say nothing but the best things. It was just surreal being down there, like all these people that like I've seen on TV talked about, like face to face talking. It was surreal.
Yeah, it was a great trip, and kind of the fruits of your labor and Justin's labor, they're coming to fruition now. Everyone's starting to see, and all the quality video and all the different things that we're doing to upgrade what we're doing here, Not For Long Media, to look professional as possible. So thank you, and appreciate all you do, Jack, and our entire team here at Not For Long. So some fun news with what's coming down the line. We have a new podcast, kind of breaking news here at Not For Long Media, called Two Girls, One League. It's been something that we've been working on for a while now. Always wanted to have a women's driven podcast here at Not For Long. So we have multiple hosts. I'm not going to disclose who they are, but the podcast will be coming out later this week, Friday, Saturday, somewhere in that later week. And then they'll be posting, episodes weekly. They're going to be talking about what the latest is in the NFL. They're going to be talking a little bit about gambling. They're going to be talking a little bit about who they think is going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to be talking about different topics in the NFL. Who's hot, who's not, what's going on with that. A little bit of fun, a good twist, kind of a little barstool feel to what they're doing. So it's going to be fun. Check out Two Girls, One League on social media across all platforms. So shout out to our friends at the Original Fudge Kitchen. I had a box of fudge the other day. It was incredible. I like it all. I'm such a peanut butter boy, though. I love the peanut butter fudge. It's all really good, though. Maple walnut, chocolate walnut. Oh man, I miss it. It's probably good. I'm not back there, man. I loved it, and we're there all the time. And it's just great people. Like, they did a segment on Joe C, who's been there and been a part of what they're doing for, I think, 30 plus years, spinning fudge there at the Original Fudge Kitchen. And he's done it in all the locations, all the way from Ocean City, all the way down to Cape May. They have all those locations in between, but just like they have legendary people there. That's been the coolest part working with them, is getting to know all the people that have been working behind the counter there, just pumping out fudge and sweet treats, over year round throughout the holidays. Like, there's just no better place to go than the Original Fudge Kitchen. Check them out, fudgekitchen.com, fudgekitchens.com, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. So I want to jump right into this, Jack. I'm going to talk about Bus One people first, and then we're going to go to the Manti Te'o conversation. Then we'll hit Bar of the Week, and we'll wrap things up. We'll send it over to the Pat Elflein interview center for your Carolina Panthers. So I talked about Bus One last week. It's like, who has been a Bus One member, like someone who's been a Not For Long Media fan for a really long time, or just a supporter, or they follow us. That's a Bus One person, right? They believe in us, and we appreciate their support. But a Bus One member also could be like last week. It was, Conti and the coach from Manchester City, because I thought they handled their fight really professionally. Like, the fight was awesome on the field, and they got after each other. And then they just shook hands, they shook hands and got really chippy. And then after, they handled it really well with the press. I thought they made it fun. They didn't make it about them. They made it about the players. I thought that was really cool. They could have easily made more drama for it, and it would have got away from the real thing, which is just soccer. So there's a lot of things that, people, don't see in the NFL. And I try, and a lot of us that have podcasts or come on podcasts try to bring it to light. And the one thing that people don't see are the gears of the NFL, and the gears of the NFL are the athletic trainers, are the people that take care of our bodies, the massage therapists, the people that are in sports performance, the strength coaches. So for me, and this is someone who's a big time listener to our podcast, and he's a great friend, and he happens to be our head athletic trainer. So the Bus One person for this week is going to be Kevin King and all the athletic trainers in the entire NFL, because they are literally the gear. They're the gears that grind, to make the NFL engine go. Without the trainers, and this goes for everybody, equipment staff, everybody in like kind of the downstairs area that are grinding that people don't see, and they just see us out there playing. They make this thing go. And we're going to get to the equipment staff, and they're going to be Bus One members too. But just for this week, because you could see just how beat up guys get during training game, how beat up guys get during the joint practice, the preseason games, OTAs, injuries from last year. It's our athletic trainers here with the Carolina Panthers. Kevin King's responsible for him. He runs the show and the entire athletic training population in the NFL, because they take care of our bodies. They take care of our minds. They allow us to come home clear-headed when things are probably not going well. They allow us to come home, upright to see our wives or our families or whatever it is when we're beat to crap late in the year. So Bus One, for us this week on the Colin Thompson Show is Kevin King and all the athletic trainers on the NFL. So we appreciate you and thank you very much. We're actually going to add go ahead, Jack.
I'm going to interject about the athletic trainers. I was going to add my own little point. I mean, even on the Division III level with the lovely Penn State Abington, our athletic trainers it's incredible the work you put in. Even seeing, like you said, NFL, even on D3 level, Emily and Sean, the athletic trainers I work with at school, they are the first people in that building and they're the last people out. Like they put in 12-hour days for these kids, and it's seeing it at all levels. It's incredible. So credit to all athletic trainers everywhere. Yes.
Thank you guys. You always be Bus One members for us. I've had some great ones over the years at all the places I've been to, played for, and just really fortunate, to have people like that that care more about others than themselves. And it's a selfless, kind of thankless job. And they're always behind the scenes, not out in the bright lights, but they allow the players to go out and perform and do their best and, provide finances to their family and feed their family. So shout out to all the athletic trainers in the NFL, our Bus One members of the week. I'm going to add someone else to the Bus One group. This is Shaq Griffin. So Shaq Griffin retired. He's a player for the Seattle Seahawks. He played at UCF. He had with one arm. He played with one full arm, and he had really from his elbow down was not there. I think it was his left arm. And Shaq's a great player. I played against Shaq at UCF, and pound for pound, I honestly would rate him probably the top 5 player that I played against in college. Again, I didn't play a ton in the SEC. I was dinged up a lot, so a lot of my players that I talk about are all the American Athletic Conference, and we had a lot of really good players. Christ, at Temple, we have 30 guys in training camp right now. So across the NFL. So Shaq is a Bus One member for sure. This guy has overcome so many obstacles. Obviously, his brother's had a great NFL career and a great college career, just like Shaq. But Shaq went to the combine and lit it up, did the bench press test with literally one arm, and had a kind of a gadget, I guess, on his one arm that would help lock into the bench press. And he did tons of bench press reps, like just so strong, so physical, so fast. He had a great 40. I know it was sub 4.5 at linebacker. That's really fast. And I played against him. He was super physical. I can't imagine how good he would have been with 2 arms. He was an NFL, I think he was a 4th-round pick with 1.5 arms. So an absolute stud of a player. And he just announced his retirement. A great guy. I was able to meet Shaq and his brother actually at the Maxwell Football Club Awards, and they couldn't have been nicer guys. I met his family, true bros. So look to what's next with you, Shaq. Guy is going to be super successful with whatever he does in life, and just a great man, and overcome obviously a major obstacle to make it to the highest level of football. So shout out to Shaq, another Bus One member for us. So guys, I want to talk about our friends over at Som Sleep. I've told you before, it is life-changing. We all have our moments where we struggle with sleep. We all have our moments where we have a little anxiety before bed, or we wake up in the morning and we're a little groggy because we took something packed with melatonin and it's not natural ingredients. Som Sleep is packed with natural ingredients, magnesium, all the good stuff in there to help you fall asleep naturally and wake up and rise in the morning ready to conquer the day. All that cliche stuff you hear on different commercials and all these different things. Listen, Som Sleep has changed my life, my family's life. We all use it. We all love it. Pop in that promo code Colin for 10% off a box of Som Sleep. They have sugar-free, which I drink. They also have non-sugar-free, which is still good. It's honestly helped me nutritionally too, because it's got a little sweetness in the drink. It's pretty bland, but it's got a good little sweet kick. And it's like replaced kind of this, when you go before to bed, you want to, get a dessert or you want to get something like that. That's what it's kind of replaced for me. And it's helped me with that. I don't have that late night treat every night. Some nights I do for sure. So check out our friends over at Som Sleep. Get some sleep. They're the best. I sleep like a rock and I get up in the morning and I'm ready to rock and roll. So Som Sleep, promo code Colin, Som Sleep, promo code Colin, COLIN. All right, Jackie, let's talk a little Manti Te'o. I want to hear from your perspective, right? And then we'll talk about mine.
It was really like, I didn't even think about it. And then J.A. texted me last week. He's like, you need to watch this documentary. Like, it is unbelievable. So I watched it. I mean, I got through the first episode and it's just unbelievable. I mean, I was young when it happened. Probably it was like 2011, 2012. So I was like 6th grade or so. I remember it going on and being like the people that everybody's like, oh, like, how could he do that? How could he fall for it? And just seeing how next level, like the person, like what they did to him, like how they were, all this stuff, how deep fake they went into it. It was truly unbelievable. And it, like a lot of people have said, from LeBron James, everybody's just like, we owe Manti an apology just for everything that has gone on.
Everybody owes him an apology. There is not one person who can sit here and say that they didn't make a snarky comment, they didn't roll their eyes, they didn't judge Manti. If you did, I'd love to meet you. Please come to the forefront. Please tweet at us. I'd love to talk to you about it. Because when this went down, he was the man, and he still is the man, right? Talk about like someone who played linebacker in the NFL. Talk about someone who was, second place in Heisman voting. Like, if you watch that documentary, he turned around Notre Dame football. They were not in a great place, and he came in and turned the whole thing around. So props to Manti, first off, for the Notre Dame stuff, because I grew up a Notre Dame fan. Right when he was there was in the prime of my kind of high school recruitment, my fandom for Notre Dame. It was kind of when I was weaning off Notre Dame because, I grew up wanted to play football there. I always wanted to play tight end there. They have great tight ends. Charlie Weiss was the head coach. So that was like a great fit, for me at the time. At least I thought. So apologies to Manti Te'o, because that documentary is really, first off, well done by Netflix and the old Untold Stories, I believe it is. And props to Manti and his family for getting on there and telling the story. And props to everyone involved. There's people that spoke that they don't have to speak and kind of helps tell that story and paints that picture of what Manti was going through. And he means a lot to a lot of people. And he was a legend. And he was kind of, like the Tim Tebow type character of like, he's almost bigger than the team he plays on. Like, he's massive. He's like the size of college football, the entire thing, like the top 1 or 2 topics. There's not many people like that when it comes to like, they're just as big as college football. And it's not just for a year. Like Cam Newton went to Auburn for a year, had a great run, and was like the best player in a single season ever and won a national title. But like Tim Tebow did it for 4 years. Manti did it for, I think, 3. He left early. So, I mean, maybe Tim left early too. I don't think Tim left early. But so there's those guys like the Herschel Walker, like they're legendary names in college football that have done it for so long, a long period of time, and that's where he fits in. So that's where he was in the college football landscape. And at a place like Notre Dame, which I thought Netflix did a great job telling the story of what they mean to college football, because people roll their eyes at Notre Dame, but like they're a big deal. They're the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Whether people want to admit that or not, or whatever it is, or they haven't won and all these things, they're the Dallas Cowboys of college football. They're the most expensive franchise. If you could buy Notre Dame, they are, right? It's just like Dallas, right? It's the same thing. They've had success. They have great players. They have great coaches. So apologies to Manti. Again, great job by Netflix. I thought it was a great show, and crazy what he went through. I feel so bad for him. Everyone's can sit at home and say, oh, that would never happen to me. And I think Manti would probably say the same thing. But being away from home, he was looking for comfort. He was looking for something of familiarity. And, end up biting him in the butt, and it being, someone took advantage of him, which is a shame. So, yeah, apologies to Manti. I know Jack and the rest of us here and Not For Long Media feel the same way. Okay. Listen, I want to talk about our friends over at SeatGeek. SeatGeek, promo code Colin Thompson, get 20% off those tickets to a ball game that are way overpriced now, right? They're way overpriced. So just pop that promo code Colin Thompson in, COLINTHOMPSON. When you're going to a football game, baseball game, you're going to concerts, promo code Colin Thompson, my full name, and we're going to get you guys 20% off those tickets over $50. Bar of the week, Jack. It's time. Backed by popular demand every single week, the bar of the week. The bar of the week this week is one of my favorite places to go to. It is called Dock Street and is in Annapolis, Maryland, right downtown, right next to Eagle Alley, right in the heart of Annapolis, extremely accessible from all areas. You can get there by boat. You can get there by foot. You can get there by Uber. You can go home by Uber as well. I've done that as well. It's a great place to hang out. It's a great place to meet people. It's just got, the cool kind of cobblestone walls. It has the Navy football jerseys hanging up. It has, just a great way to watch football during the day. And then at night, it turns into more of like a clubby fun vibe. So you have like the cool Annapolis near the water vibe during the day. And then you have at night kind of a more upbeat fun vibe. So Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland, shout out to Mo, runs the place, a great guy, always takes care of it there. So jacked to be living in Annapolis and be going to there more. So shout out to Mo and his team. Awesome peeps. So Dock Street, beer, cold beer, 4 out of 5. Great drinks as well. TVs, 5 out of 5. They do not get much better than that. They're everywhere you look. There's a TV on the wall. So 5 out of 5 with the TVs. Food and ambiance, really good snacks and eats for bar food. I don't think people realize that there. Really good food and snacks. The ambiance is great. I talked about kind of the walls and the vibe and the jerseys. So 4 out of 5 on the ambiance, and the service is great too. Mo and everybody takes awesome care of us there. So 5 out of 5 on the service, 18 out of 20. Another big score for Dock Street in Annapolis, Maryland. Our bar of the week here at the Colin Thompson Show. So we got big numbers coming up, Jack. A lot of big numbers. And just when you think I'm going to, all right, we're going to start ticking down and we're going to start running out of places. I do a little thinking, and shout out to Ange and George for the suggestion of Dock Street. They're right. That's a great place. NASA, George, and, and Angela made it work. So appreciate you guys for the suggestion last night on the phone. Okay. I want to talk about something we just added here is our friends over at Actions Over Words. Actions Over Words Apparel, the official apparel company of Not For Long Media. Appreciate you guys hooking us up with some awesome swag. Can't wait to tell that to our team and get everyone involved in what's going on at Actions Over Words. They're donating profits to a charity of the choice. So when you're buying their clothing, which is premier, awesome stuff, they're donating a profit that they're bringing in to the charity of their choice. So check them out, guys. Actions Over Words Apparel. And shout out to the Levin family in Cape May, New Jersey, also owners of Collier's Liquor Store. All right, Jack, what else we got, man? We're going to wrap things up.
I think we pretty much covered everything. I'm excited for everyone to see Pat's interview this week. Like he said, it's probably the funniest interview I've had to edit by far, by a large margin. It is the funniest interview we've had. Yeah, for sure. Pat is hysterical. He is one of the funniest guys on the team. He is a great NFL offensive lineman and just a great guy, great friend, and just so jacked, that he was able to give us some of his time for the show this week. So that does it to me. Appreciate all our sponsors: Som Sleep, Wealth Advisory Services, the Original Fudge Kitchen, SeatGeek, and our new friends that have joined us from Actions Over Words. That's Jack Connell. I'm Colin Thompson. I appreciate you guys joining us, and enjoy the Pat Elflein interview. Be a good time. Wow, we got the great Pat Elflein, the pride of Pickerington, Ohio, joining us. Patty, how you doing, buddy?
Come on, CT. Appreciate you, bud. Everything's going good. I appreciate you having me on. I'm honored, to share this time with you. And yeah, man, everything's great. Everything's good. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, your family, hanging out. You're truly one of the guys that works, hardest working guy in the building, is absolutely dialed in on his health, his wellness. And just, I'm a huge fan of you, man. It's been a pleasure hanging with you. Yeah, man. I can say the same about you. You're a voice in the locker room, and energy that I think it's mandatory on a team. You gotta have a personality like yours around there just to kind of keep everyone, above water, and everyone sane, and everyone just keep it loose. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get into the grind of things, you know how it can get. It's a battle, every day, and just keeping it loose and keeping good vibes going. That's the job. That might be big time. Job. The good vibe tribe guy. That's definitely what we got to keep going. So what do you got going on, man? Where are you at right now?
So right now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, training at Charles Bentley's place. Been spending my summers out here for most of my whole career. It's hot out here, brother. It's hot. It'll be anywhere from 110 to 115, sometimes 120. You know, get ready for that Wofford heat. Getting ready for that Wofford heat.
Talk about Bentley's place. Explain it for people that don't know about it.
Yeah, so Charles Bentley's place, it's called AMDG Sports Performance now. And it's a gym that's predicated for developing offensive linemen and only that, which I think is pretty cool and what attracted me to that place when I was a young player coming out of college. And it's a place I go, right when the season ends and for the whole offseason, and really dial in on what I got to do to make sure I can do my job to the best of my ability. And then, so yeah, they got everything out there for you. Got a good staff, good training staff that, everyone's either played O-line or has some skin in the game, you know what I'm saying? And it's a place where I can come in and have a regimented routine and just, get the work done. And Phoenix isn't a bad spot to spend some time. It's not a bad spot if you like some golf, you like some
hiking. Are you golfing out there, Pat?
I haven't golfed much, but there's a lot of golf out here, bud. But when I do go out there, I can hit some bombs. I'm an athlete. I can hit some bombs.
Damn right you are an athlete. Damn right.
But am I consistent at it? That's about everyone's golf game, huh?
That's right, huh?
Ain't that right, huh?
I love it. So that's great, dude. What else is going on out in Arizona, man? Like, what are you doing to kill time? Are you just so dialed right now? I know you're dialed, but you can't be that dialed.
No, I'm not that dialed, but I'm dialed. You know that. I'm clocked into the lab, but and that's almost a full-time job in itself. But you also have to spend some time away. But like I said, brother, it's hot, so it's hard. It's a little tougher to go outside. It's like 9 a.m. It's hitting almost 100 degrees, brother. 90, 100 degrees. But one of my favorite things to do out here, which I just did this past weekend, I called it a birthday celebration. I just turned 28.
I'll
call it a birthday. But we like to go to the Salt River and float on there. They'd have like a river float expedition, one might call it. And you get some boys together or gals, and you tie up or both. Get yourself a crew, and we go floating on this river, man. And it's like they have two different floats. You can do a 2-hour float or a 4-hour float. So you show up at this place, pay $20, you get a tube and a bus ride. They'll take you to the top of the river, whatever stop you want. We always go 4-hour because that's when it gets interesting. And we float down, man, and a couple of times the river picks up speed. It's not too fast, but it's still a river. And then there's a part where, we're floating by wild horses, and there's like 30, 40 wild horses just in this river drinking the water as we're floating by, drinking the beers. And it's just a beautiful spot where you can kind of, and you got huge mountains and desert mountains in the background the whole time. So it's a good place to kind of go, and you can, escape reality for a few hours. But it's a great time. So we like doing that in the summer. We've been watching some movies, man, some Netflix, some Top Gun. You seen that?
I have not seen the new Top Gun. I've been holding off to watch it with a certain friend, NASA George. I'm going to put him on blast here.
Yeah.
But him and I are both busy. We just moved in a new house at the Zoe. We have excuses.
Yeah.
I just started Drive to Survive. I know, man. We're getting into it. I'm strong as a bull now. I wasn't before, but I am now because we were moving. So I'm like ready to go this year, brother. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you've been moving, huh?
Yeah, I have. Got a new place here. I will say this though. Question. Go back to Netflix. Have you watched Drive to Survive?
No. What's that one?
That's the F1 series that everyone's into. Drive to Survive. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I've heard about it. I need to get into it.
What are you dialed in on Netflix these days? Anything in particular?
Dude, we just finished Inventing Anna.
Good.
It's a true story. It's pretty good. About like this girl that came over from Germany, like an immigrant, and kind of conned her way into like the elites of New York City.
Oh, I watched like a couple episodes of that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And like pretty wild story. and she was I think she got convicted and went to jail for some time, but she was like on the borderline of, is she lying or is she just very smart at manipulating people? It was a crazy story, true story. I suggest, go check it out if you got some time. And I'm kind of doing like I'm holding off on the Stranger Things. I'm a big Stranger Things fan.
I hate scary stuff, man. So you could catch me with that,
dude. You don't like Stranger Things?
I'm scared to death, man. I can't do any old people. I'm soft, man, on all the things that anything to do not with football. I'm soft on. Like I can't. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll be up all night.
I feel you, man. You gotta. So you're in the haunted houses. You're out on that.
Out. Are you a haunted house guy?
No, I mean, those things are next level, bro. They get up in your face and chasing you and stuff. I'm good.
I feel like I would just lay a guy out. Like a guy runs around the corner. Like I'm just laying the dude out.
I'd clothesline the guy unless he had a chainsaw, then I'm running. Hey, you can't clothesline a chainsaw.
I knew you were gonna have some joke with that.
You can't.
You can't. It's fact.
You can't do it.
You brought up escaping reality, and we escaped reality, you and I in particular, at the Bank of America Stadium for the Kenny Chesney concert. That was a good time, bud.
That was one of the better weekends I've had as of late. And first off, Kenneth Chesney is a great artist. I'm a fan of his. Every one of his songs is about a sing-along, huh? Just about. And then how about getting on stage, bud?
I'll tell you what, Pat.
How about that?
I said it a couple times before. Everyone's like, "What's your you made it moment?" And I don't know. We play. It's kind of what we do. And we never really get to reflect on any of your play because you're always like turning the page to the next thing, the next walkthrough, the next practice, the next game, the next walkthrough, next practice, next game, next lift, next whatever. You don't really have time to digest. If you spend too much time digesting, you're probably not doing it right. So when we did that, and I was just like, we're walking around the stadium, and we were up in the players' coaches box with, people on on the staff, and then the players, and just like a great camaraderie day. And then we go down and we're in the pit, and then all of a sudden we're backstage, and then all of a sudden we're on the stage. Like we had the drinks flowing, we had the good times going, sing-alongs rocking, and it was just an incredible moment that I'll never forget. Like I was like, wow, I made it. I'm on the stage. I FaceTimed my dad on stage. I want to share with him. You're rocking out, like literally just rocking out with the guitarist.
Yeah, I went over, found myself the rhythm guitarist, and had a few words of encouragement for him, got him to shred a little bit. I said, shred, baby, shred. Let's go. Come on now. And he could only play like it was Boys of Fall, so he only had one strum every 5 seconds. And he's like, hey, who is this guy in my face telling him to shred? But then I had to join him. I got next to him, and I played the air guitar until they kicked me off stage.
You did a great job.
How often do you get to do that?
I hope we do it again, Pat, but I don't know if we ever will.
That might be a once in a lifetime, bud.
I hate to say it. It gives me a little anxiety because it was probably one of the best nights of my life. But hey, life goes on. That's a part of life. And maybe, we just got to keep playing, Pat, and get those opportunities. That's
playing. Yep. Keep playing, keep doing it. And,
we're both 28. We're both old heads, man.
Dude, time goes quick, huh?
Really does. Dude, take me back, though, please, to Pickerington, Ohio. Tell me about Pickerington. What's it about? The vibe.
Pickerington. Good vibe. My family, we're from the south end of Columbus, Ohio. They call it German Village. That's where my parents are from, and I'm the youngest of 4. So we started, our lives there, and then decided we were going to move to Pickerington, which is about 20 miles east of the city, a little better suburb, better schools, better opportunities. So we moved out there. My dad, he's a brick mason. My mom's she was a lunch lady at the high school, Pickerington North. So it was just, kind of grew up a little, blue collar. You're either working or you're playing sports. Working with my dad, helping him to either tear out concrete or You know, we're doing brick walls, stone foundations, stone walls, fireplaces, chimneys, all types of stuff. So either doing that or, and then you know, get into sports. And I'd say the town of Pickerington is, there's been some talent come out of there. So it's a football town for sure. Football town for sure. So growing up in that, you know, there was like a standard.
Who came out
And
of there? And did they go to Ohio State?
yeah, there's, you know, a lot of guys that came out of there. Let's say Jake Black. Well, he ended up going to that team up North Michigan, but he went to my high school. I'm sure you might know him, fellow tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Godwin Igwebuike. He's playing for the Lions right now. He went to Northwestern. The Bourne brothers is Justin, Jacoby, and Zach. They all played at Ohio State and had a little bit of time in the NFL. And then there's a bunch of other guys. Karis LeVert right now, I think he's playing for the Knicks. He's a basketball player. Just, you know, there's 2 high schools in that town, so a lot of talent. And then I'd say like my older brothers who also played football, they had a big influence on me, and they saw my size and kind of helped develop me and mold me from, you know, starting at a young age, like 6th, 7th grade. They're like, you know, this kid, even though he's a fat kid, he might have a chance. He might have a chance. But they were just big in the weight room and stuff and would bring me along. And somewhere in there, I developed an edge that, you know, that's still kind of my driving factor, my motor to this day. But it's a good town. My parents still live there. Family's still there. Yeah, that place, you know, that's home. Home
I
will
was the
always
fat
be
kid.
home.
I was the fat kid. And I'm still struggling to take the shirt off, Pat. Even though I'm a tight end now, I've leaned out, but man, I just still can't. You know, I like to say this, and I always say it, like these guys are walking around the weight room like, you know, they're just ripped or whatever, and the guys are walking around like the training room getting work done. And I'm like, you know, when you look at, you know, my body, because again, in the locker room, you gotta understand, folks, like we're just whatever, we don't care. You know, and I'm in the training room or I'm in the tubs. You look at my body, you're like, that looks like a guy likes to have fun and then also train hard. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, the old hybrid. Is that what they call you? The old hybrid?
I'm a hybrid tight end, Pat. And most people say, oh, blocker and catcher. Yeah, sure. I want to say have a good time, but also work really hard.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
fair.
And I seen you block now. Come on.
I'm
Step
trying,
it up,
Pat.
baby.
I'd be like you,
Step
big
it
fella.
up.
Remington Award winner at Ohio State. Dude, how cool is that? Like, I know we got to be humble and you're probably all Big Ten too. But like to get an award like that prestigious, that's pretty cool.
Dude, it was sick. Let me tell you, it was awesome. So I had played, that was my first year playing center. You know, I played 4 years of right guard before that. Then I came back for my 5th year. Thought it'd be a good idea to switch to center to get some versatility and maybe, you know, I don't know, help the team out there, maybe get drafted a little higher or whatever. But switched over and it was pretty smooth transition. Ended up winning that award. You know, it helped being on a good team and stuff too and all that. But yeah, bro, it's sick. A nice big tree. It's like 60 pounds. You got to lug it around. It's sitting at my parents' house. That's gonna be cool to look back on. You know, that's gonna be cool to look back on. 100%.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of fond memories in your time at Ohio State. Who recruited you and your process through like all the years at Ohio State, like best moments, low points?
Yeah, so that was pretty another kind of story that all the pieces fell into the right place. When I was getting recruited, first started getting recruited, it was Jim Tressel was the head coach, and obviously being from Columbus, Pickerington, Ohio State's like dream come true. So I'm working my butt off trying to just put good film out there, be strong, big, go to camps, you know, let them see me, and maybe I get an offer. But you know, the Tressel staff, no offense against them or anything, but they like their linemen 6'5", 6'6", 315 pounds, you know, and that wasn't me. But some unfortunate events happened. Coach Tressel had to resign, and then Luke Fickle, who's head coach at Cincinnati now, became the interim head coach at Ohio State. And through that whole fiasco, guys decommitted, a bunch of people left, say they're going to tank, whatever. opened up a bunch of scholarship spots. And Coach Fickle, being, he's one of the best Ohio heavyweight wrestlers, to ever, come out of there, state champ and all that. He saw me wrestle, and he liked that. He said he, liked seeing me on the mat. Ended up giving me a scholarship after all those opportunities happened. And so that year happened. Then going into the following year, when I'm getting ready to report, Urban Meyer got the job and honored my scholarship. I think I was the lowest rated recruit in that class because obviously he's bringing in the best talent, which again, that stuff doesn't matter. But looking back on it, it's kind of cool, to say that you were the lowest one in class or whatever. But yeah, man, you know the deal from there. Just work hard, put your blinders on, do what you got to do, and ended up leaving there. Yeah, had a good career there.
Listen at home, kids. Least highest rated recruit. Take note of that. Also take note of wrestling. My biggest regret in high school is not wrestling. I wish I would have. I think I'd be a better football player because of it. I think I'd have better hips because of it. Some of the things I want to work on, right? Like I'm like, man, that wrestling would have covered a lot of that stuff. It's a great sport. Talk about the transition over from football to wrestling. Like I know you're an advocate for it.
I think just playing multiple sports in general can help you just become better athlete. But then wrestling, it just, you're one-on-one combat. You're feeling pressure from another body pushing against you, and you have to apply pressure. And over time, you just get a sense on, how to feel during that. Obviously, it's a very tough sport, conditioning wise and strength wise and toughness wise. So all that stuff, I think, directly correlates, and especially playing offensive line. You know what I'm saying? And so each rep's one-on-one combative for 4, 5, 6 seconds. So just being in that environment over and over again, I think can help you out. Now the skills, taking a pass set and doing a double leg takedown are different skills, obviously, but I think it just makes you athletic, just doing those moves, right? Just exposing yourself to different, techniques and shots, and someone shooting on you, and you have to, put your hips into them. And it's a cool sport, probably one of the OG sports in human history, huh? Wrestling.
Damn right.
Damn right, baby.
Do some wrestling, baby. And the damn right I'm using, guys, is from the great Brian Angelico, is our former tight end coach, who's now in Minnesota, but he always said it. Pat and I say it to each other, and I always say it. Lots of places I could pivot here too. I'll say this: you spoke always highly about Coach Urban Meyer. What he's done for you, and your family, and obviously there's a lot of drama, and you hear different things about Coach Meyer. But talk about Coach Meyer in positive light. I know he's meant a lot to you.
Yeah, I know Coach Meyer during my time with him at Ohio State. He's did a lot of good stuff for with his players. For my family personally, he's gone above and beyond to help us out. And just with different issues we were having, like he would say, "Hey, what can I do? What can I do to help you?" And like his wife Shelly, same things. Like, what can we do? And just to see that, like him going above and beyond and doing it for a lot of different people too, you could tell what his intent was to take care of his players, his coaches, all that was just, trying to build a culture, and he did, man. And I had a great experience with him.
You guys won a lot of football games, man. You have produced a lot of great players. Who are some of the, your favorite guys, some of the best guys you played with at Ohio State? Just absolute dogs, because there's plenty of them there.
Man, there's a ton of them. You can just start on the O-line when I was a young guy. Corey Lindsley, Jack Muhort, Andrew Norwell, Taylor Decker, Jamarco Jones, Billy Price. There's a lot of guys in that O-line room that are just elite, and then going into guys like Ezekiel Elliott, and obviously watch him carry the football. But if you watch him play without the football, watch him block, and watch him, do all the other things, that may have been even more impressive than watching him play with the ball. He was just a motor, man, a motor. Obviously the Bosa brothers, the entire defensive backfield and corners, everyone. Braxton Miller and the JT Barrett, Cardell Jones, Michael Thomas. There's just we were loaded, man, always loaded, and he'd bring in those players, but I feel like one of the key engines to that program was the strength coach and staff, Mickey Marotti, because he just did an excellent. I mean, and you know of him. He did an excellent job training us, man, not only physically but mentally, and got us ready to go out and compete. And by the time we went on the field for games, man, it was easy. Practice was so much harder than games. Most of the game, I mean, we play a few games a year that like Alabama or Michigan, but most of the time the games were pretty easy because we were just going against the best talent, and we would work very hard.
Mickey was the strength coach of Florida for Urban Meyer, for those at home that listening and wanted to tie it together. Mickey was there the year at Florida during my recruiting visits because Muschamp retained him. Obviously, he was one of the best in the business. Muschamp retained him, and Urban moved on from Florida, right? Took that year off and then took the Ohio State job, and then Mickey left and joined him at Ohio State. And then Jeff Dillman, Jesse Ackerman, and that staff at Florida came in behind him, the guys that I worked with. So you have played some great players. We'll start in college. Who are some of the better guys you faced in college? Obviously, you played guard, you played center. You know those interior guys from the D tackle, linebacker spot. There's plenty of them in the SEC. I played against those guys at Penn State, Big Ten. There's plenty of those guys I played against at Penn State that were good inside. Mike Hull was one that I jumped over a guy and he laid me out on my way down. 43. He was a good player. They had two good D tackles inside. I forget their names. Yep. But there's some guys, man. Johnson, 99. Who'd you guys?
Yeah.
Who were some of the guys you remember?
Those guys from Penn State, like Johnson, you just mentioned. Michigan's D line was always really good.
Bama, you got to play Bama.
Yeah, Bama. Their entire defense was insane. You know what I'm saying?
All first round picks.
All first round picks on the defense. And then just I know it's not we aren't going against them, but just our own D line we going against in practice was insane.
In the league, who do you think the best interior guys are?
Dude, there's some monsters out there.
They're so good.
Obviously, Aaron Donald was really, really good.
What makes Aaron great?
He has triple threat, man. Triple threat. He's gonna beat you outside. He can run you over, and he can beat you inside too. So no matter, you can take the perfect pass set, and he still got a weapon he can strike you with. So you gotta just better hope you lifted enough weights in the off season. He's so quick off the ball. He's smart. All that. Linval Joseph, Akeem Hicks.
Big boys.
Vita Vea, Gray Jerry's a monster. Dude, you can go to each team and find a monster. So
D-line, man. D-line is unreal in the NFL. The whole D-line.
Those might be the freakiest athletes on the field, I know each to each their own, but defensive linemen, big, strong, fast monsters.
No doubt, man. There's so many guys out there. We got some good guys in our own room. You're gonna.
Yeah.
I always say this to
people. Ioannidis.
Matt.
Those guys are real. Those guys are real.
Yeah, I played with Matt Ioannidis in college. He's a friend and a great guy, great leader. He'll be huge for us, on and off the field.
Matt's a great guy, and he's a really good player, and has been. He has been a good player for a while.
Yeah, it's crazy. Coach was like, Matt's going on his 8th year. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm like, oh my God, he is. Because when I was at Temple with him, he left. He didn't redshirt. It's amazing too at Temple. I was talking Temple, and a lot of guys that played for Temple, or all our coaches are from there. So, this group of guys that redshirted, if they did redshirt, we would have been even more loaded. We won a championship, but we had 5 NFL guys that were drafted, all got drafted, and then we had our best year after they left. Believe it or not, Matt was one of them. Yeah, which was really weird in itself. Take me back to draft day, dude. It's a pretty big day for you.
Draft day was cool. Draft day, we thought I'd be going on the second day. Was that second or third round? But still, you don't really know how it's going to shake out. So I had some of my closest friends and family over at my parents' house in Pickerington. And we just went on that Friday night. It was the second day. So that's when people came over. We were just hanging out, and my parents have a bar and had a little projector screen up in there. Hanging out in there, and then, it was a long evening, kind of waiting on the phone call. And I got one from Minnesota, and just the whole place erupted, bro. It was insane. It's a night I'll never forget. An energy, you know what I'm saying, that I'll never forget. And just having all my people there behind me was pretty cool. But getting drafted, man, that's, I mean, you weren't drafted, but
it's still the best day of your life, man.
Yeah, it's still like that's the work only begins then. You know what I'm saying? Getting drafted,
No doubt.
It's awesome, but that's just the beginning of the work to become a good NFL lineman. But yeah, getting drafted was very cool. Very cool. Seeing your name come across the board, growing up, watching the draft, that was another day that I'll never forget. But like I said, that's just an entry point into the league. And then the work starts. You know what I'm saying? Then the work starts.
When you go and you get drafted or undrafted, you're so happy, but like deep down inside, you're like, man, there's a war coming that, you never experienced before. And honestly, it may not even be physical. Obviously, my first year in the league, I was physically unmatched, I thought, and I didn't move well enough. So I changed my body and lost 10 pounds and became 255 instead of a 265 blocking tight end. You got to move better. You got to play on special teams. You got to do a bunch of different things. So, I've changed. I was more of a blocker. I can do different things. But my point is, like, you have to adapt and change in this league every single year, every offseason. I change something.
Yes.
What's something you're doing, Pat, like over the years that you've changed and brought in from like where you were and you were staunch on maybe your first year in the league to like what you're doing now? I know you're in the sauna. Yeah. I know you're doing all that stuff.
Yeah, man. So like you said, you'd make adjustments every year, and that's the name of the game. I feel like in the NFL is making adjustments, mainly with how you take care of your body. Taking care of your body is, almost a full-time gig. As of recent, yeah, I love sauna. Love doing the hot sauna, going there for 20, 25 minutes at 180 degrees. I feel like that has a lot of benefits. Not only just getting your blood flow to all the different areas and new blood in, old blood out. I feel like it has a really, really good cardio effect. And I noticed it. One example of that is my 4th year in Minnesota. Started the season, played the first game, going into week 2, hurt my thumb in practice, tore my thumb, had to get surgery to fix it. And they had like a new IR rule, like a 3-week IR. So I went on that because that's about how long it was going to take. Ended up taking a little bit longer to get back. I think I ended up getting released from Minnesota like week 10. And then there's like a 1-week COVID period we had a test. So I was cleared to play like week 12 for the Jets. But in between that time from like week 2 when I got hurt, I couldn't I wasn't running too much. It was just, I wasn't practicing too much. It was, I was in a weird spot with this injury. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do full practices, wasn't playing games, but I was in that damn sauna all the time. Those 25 minutes of intense heat, and got my cardio right. And then when I went and played that week 12 to 16 with the Jets, I felt like I hadn't even missed a beat. Let alone, I've been playing football for a while, so I'm in some type of football shape, but I wasn't really training during that 8 weeks off, except for my cardio, at least, except for that sauna. And when I went out and played a game, I was like, I didn't know how it was going to go. He didn't play a game for 10 weeks. And I ended up send it and ended up playing some of the best ball of my career. But I think that sauna, helped fill that gap of my cardio, transitioning back onto the field. And this has a ton of stress benefits. Help with that.
I'm looking forward to getting back in the sauna with the boys in Carolina, man. It's just getting good.
Get in the box with the boys.
Get in the box with the boys, kind of get a good lather, get a good sweat.
That's where the next podcast needs to be. Box with the boys.
Oh, just a couple mics, you know,
sweats rolling.
Just sweating it out and just chatting, you know. Like they back in the old days, probably smoking cigarettes in there. Like, oh God.
Cigarettes and cold beer.
That's right.
But that's thing that I'm doing to help with my body is I don't know if you've heard of like Knees Over Toes guy, Ben Patrick on Instagram.
Talk more about it.
He advertises his stuff a lot there, which is how I found it. And he just has this, it's not like he created like a new routine. He just kind of combined a lot of different people's ideas and made his own regimen that kind of helped him out with the injuries he had. And I've kind of started doing it. Actually, I have started doing it. And it's helped maintain my lower body joint health.
You are repping it, man. You get after it. Like Pat is like the guy that, I mean, so after practice, talk through your regimen because it's tremendous. Can you talk about your pre-practice and post-practice? I think people will enjoy this.
Yeah, so pre-practice, I mean, if we got a meeting at like 8 o'clock, you know, I try to be in the weight room around 7. I need like an hour, you know, to do that routine, which then gets my whole lower body, just every muscle is activated. The joints have gone through some type of range of motion that's going to be called upon later in the day at practice. And yeah, you know, I call it lubing up, greasing the joints, baby, grease them up.
So you'll hit that pre-practice.
Hit that pre-practice, and then go to our meetings, get out, have like another 30 minutes before practice where, you know, you're sitting in meetings for like 2.5 hours. So you got to kind of get greased up again. That was not too intense, mainly like some core activation, some ankle range of motion, hip flexor range of motion, glute activation, you know, your typical, you know, activation stuff. Go to practice, come back, and then, you know, that's when I usually lift. I lift after practice. So I'll do my lift, and then I'll do like that knees over toes guy routine, and stretch as well. Yeah, I'm trying to be dialed, bud.
You're
because
dialed.
As I get older in football years, you know, you can feel a little bit of wear on your body, so you just have to do extra to maintain that. You have to do extra. So that's kind of what I've been doing since I've become, you know, a veteran player.
What is your off day like? Are you a pool guy? Are you a sauna guy? Are you yoga? Are you lifting? Are you not an off day? Some guys just lift right through it and run. How do you handle it?
Off day. So you talking Tuesday off day?
So folks at home, 90% of NFL buildings, you play Sunday. You go to work on Monday. You do a light lift. You do a run, depending on your feeling. Communicate with the strength coaches, kind of see what's going on. We've had Jeremy Scott on here before. You guys have heard Jeremy Scott, some other strength coaches as well. And then, so Sunday's the game. Monday is not an off day. You have meetings, film, and then you have a lifting session, running session, whatever that may be. Tuesday, we're off. So what's your kind of Monday and Tuesday vibe?
Tuesday, we're off. So wake up Tuesday. I'll head into the building, get some breakfast, get a lift in.
Wow.
I like lifting on Tuesdays because then you know, I don't lift on Wednesdays because I did it on Tuesday.
We have our hardest practice on Wednesday, folks. We have our hardest practice.
Yeah, hard practice on Wednesday. So I like to just save all my juice for that. And it's nice to go in and get a lift in without having practice, you know, that day, either after or before. So that gets my mind right, you know, go in there, lift. I'll get in the hot and cold tub after, you know, protein shakes, make sure you eat good. And then I'll go home, and then the wife and I we'll do something that day, or we'll just kind of hang out. But usually like in a little activity, whether we're going to go on a walk or go somewhere for lunch or, you know, whatever it may be. But then later, definitely get in that sauna, about 20, 25 minutes.
You got the one at the house too. You got the hookup at the house.
Dude, I got one at the house. I got one at here. I'm in Phoenix too. I got one here. I got two of them here. I've got an infrared, which Sammy D bought for me for being on his line last year.
I didn't
Sammy
get
D
that.
hooked it up, dude.
I missed too many blocks for him.
You got to play at least tackle, bro. Take that E out, just play T, and then Sammy D will get you right.
That's a good gift by Sam.
Sam hooked it up, bro. So he got me an infrared sauna, and then I have the hot one out here as well, which, like, how I referred back to that situation in Minnesota where it just helped get me right. I said this thing is imperative just to keep me at tip-top shape and recover well. So I'm gonna have one where I'm training at either here, you know. And I've moved my one from Minnesota. I broke it down, threw it in a pod, shipped it to Charlotte, and built her back up there. So she travels with me, Colin. She travels.
Damn right she travels. I'll say this. Well, I'll ask you this. I need to know the gifts you've gotten because you play for some good quarterbacks. You play for some high money guys. You played for all in between. Minnesota drafted. Can you take us through the quarterback and the gift or the running back and the gift?
Yep. So let's see. My rookie year, Case Keenum. Bought saw 12 gauge, Remington 1911 shotguns. Sick gift. Suitcase. I call him Suitcase. He's the man. Next year had Kirkland Cousins, and he bought us Traeger grills. Another sick gift. Awesome. Following year had Kirkland Cousins again. He got us custom suits. Loved it. I got a nice maroon, crispy ass suit from Kirkland. Year 4, that's when I went to the Jets. Had Sammy D on there. He got me Big Daddy Traeger. So awesome again. I just had a steak that I cooked on it. And then year 5 had Sammy again, got me an infrared sauna, bro. Being a lineman ain't bad.
It ain't bad, dude. I got C-Mac hooked us up with custom suits year before you got here.
He took care of everybody, huh?
That was a big deal, man. I was like, man, I made it, like so I write him a thank you letter, I give him a hug.
Yeah, C-Mac's the man. And I'm sure you deserve it as well, Colin. You play your ass off.
Oh, don't say that. I appreciate you.
Come on.
Hey,
come on.
Can you talk about C-Mac, dude? Like, you guys are close. You guys train a lot together. You guys laugh a lot together. Can you just fill our audience in about that guy? Because I always rave about him. They always hear me raving about him, but he's just different and he's just unreal.
Yeah, C-Mac, you just said it perfectly. He's just different. Before I got to Carolina, I thought I've seen some workhorses and people go. Not until I saw C-Mac. That dude is dialed on another level. Just the way he approaches everything, man. It's full intent, full speed, full gas. The dude lifts like an interior lineman. I see him, deadlifting 500-600 pounds after a hard practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and stroking that shit out too, easy. Trains like an animal, and then literally he'll do these animal movements where he's like hopping like a frog or doing the snake crawl and doing these different jumps, and just watch. He just showed dial, so I hopped in with him. I was doing it. And then his character, man, is just top-notch character as well. Someone who you want to be around, someone who you want your family to be around. Very knowledgeable about a lot of different subjects. Very, very funny guy. Has a great sense of humor. Knows, yeah, man, he's a full-on broski. And it's and he's a freaking warrior, bro. He's a warrior.
I can't wait, man.
I remember last year, second game against the Saints, I pulled my hamstring that game, unfortunately. So I was like, it was third quarter, or if it was fourth quarter, and I was in the training room. They had my hammy wrapped up or whatever. C-Mac comes in, and he's full body cramping, so they brought him. It was a hot day. He got a ton of carries. He was working all game. Came into the training room. He was like getting IVs, getting, right stuffs, everything. Dude's like trying to hold all this like sodium down. He's like barfing, can't hold it down. Drinks more water, IVs are flowing. And we're like watching the game on the TV in the training room. And I'm on the other side. I'm like looking over. I'm like, is that dude all right? He just ingested what he needed to, got his ass back out there and scored like 2 touchdowns, and we won the game. And I'm watching this on TV. I'm like, in the training room, I'm like, that dude was just here, like not okay. And now he just goes out there and scores touchdowns and runs people over. It's like, a dude's just an animal. And I'm really glad he's on our team, and I'm really glad he's, one of my friends. It's a great dude.
Great dude. Great dude. Just like the great Pat Elflein. As we wrap things up here, Patty, I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good. It's always flies by when you're having fun.
CT, man, I'm honored to be on your cast. It was a great time, and yeah, brother, let's have me on again sometime, whenever.
Let's do this thing. Well, we'll get her done in the facility, man. We had Big Bozy on, the big boy. Yeah. We had him on. He was great.
We'll get the boys in the box going next.
Oh, there it is. Jack's in the back. He's smiling. It's gonna be good stuff. Come on, Patty Elflein, everybody. Appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you.